5 years ago, when I was a student, I had a bizarre experience. Late at night, while driving on a dark country road, my car's engine suddenly stopped. With little knowledge about cars, I decided to wait inside the car after calling a roadside assistance service similar to AAA in the United States. After a while, a strong light approached from the road ahead. I initially thought the roadside assistance had arrived, but upon closer inspection, something seemed off. The light stopped about 50 meters in front of my car and did not move from there. Unlike car headlights, which are typically split into two, this light seemed to emanate from a single source. The amount of light was incredibly strong, illuminating the area between the light source and my car as if it were daytime. Feeling a bit uneasy, I decided to approach the light, and I saw someone approaching from the other side. There were 3 of them. Due to the strong backlight, I couldn't make out who they were at first. But as they got closer, their figures became clear. All 3 were tall, seemingly over 2 meters, with slender builds and elongated, horse-like faces. While their facial features and hairstyles varied in detail, they looked quite similar to each other. Their clothing, consisting of shirts, polo shirts, jeans, and chinos, appeared ordinary but somewhat outdated. One of the men spoke to me. His intonation was different from standard speech, making him difficult to understand, but he seemed to be offering help, noticing that I appeared to be in trouble. Instinctively feeling suspicious, I replied that I had already called for roadside assistance and was fine, but they insisted on fixing the car themselves. Eventually, they suggested I get into their vehicle, claiming mine was beyond repair. At this point, my thoughts began to blur, and I started to consider going with them might not be such a bad idea. As I was introducing myself and walking towards the light with them, my phone suddenly rang. It was a call from the roadside assistance service, saying they were nearby but needed my exact location. The call snapped me back to reality, and I declined the 3 men's offer. They became angry, shouting incomprehensibly and rapidly. They seemed to be saying that I was wasting their goodwill and that we needed to hurry or it would be too late. I managed to get away from them and returned to my car. The 3 lingered outside my car for a while, pleading their case, but eventually gave up and returned to the light. One of them made a notable gesture, placing his palm sideways to his forehead, which the others mimicked. As if the gesture was a signal, they suddenly quieted down, turned their backs, and walked away. The 3 disappeared into the light, which then rapidly receded and vanished. Shortly after, a roadside assistance technician appeared from the road ahead. Surprisingly, the car started easily with his help, despite being completely unresponsive earlier. The technician, who had arrived directly along that road, mentioned encountering no such light. I managed to get home safely, but the next morning, I found a rash all over my body. A dermatologist could not determine the cause, though it disappeared after about 10 days with ointment treatment. Whether the rash was related remains unclear. But at a party 2 years later, a woman expressed interest in my story. She and her boyfriend had twice seen glowing objects flying in the sky while driving in that area. She suggested what I saw might have been UFOs or aliens. While such a theory is hard to believe immediately, I can't help feeling an inexplicable fear when I think about what might have happened if I had followed those 3. And to this day, I still don't understand why I even considered going with them.